one thing that there's a philosophical element here, because you're talking about the SEC and their purview is to like protect. But if you think about just all investments, like there's so many investments that like 80% of 90% of the population can't do because they're not accredited. And it's just like, but the accredited, you're just like, oh, so you make more money, so we just assume you know what you're doing now. So when it comes to these cryptos and all that, I think the government is assuming that you're an idiot. And to be fair, I agree, most people are stupid. So like, I mean, we talked about a second ago, the Squid Game thing, the Squid Game token, like how, and again, my heart goes out to people that got taken advantage of, but like at the same time, how stupid are you? Like, if I didn't even watch Squid Game on Netflix, but I knew everybody dies, So like that token, if you're not familiar, there was a token that people bought in, it went up, and then it went to zero.
Yeah.
So people, I think they ran off with like $1 million or $2 million or so.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, now do we protect those people, or do we let the free market decide, oh, you probably shouldn't be doing that? And again, there's that free market brain, and then there's that, hey, let's protect you brain. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like those brains talk to each other much,
Yeah, I think, and I'm not, I just love people so much. I'm like a people person. I mean, if anyone knows me out there, they know that. And it's like, I love people so much, is that I can see actually both sides, because what's interesting is I was speaking to a wealth manager who has, based out of Beverly Hills, so has amazing amount of wealth for his clients. And what was interesting is I was talking to him about like some of the things that the SEC were thinking of doing, all based around the idea of protection. And he's like, I think, and his response was, I think that's interesting because you can get scammed in anything. And, even if you're a wealthy person, you can get scammed if somebody calls you for like a real estate deal, or, technology is different. So like, for instance, Glenn Ross, right? If you've watched that movie,
I'm really good at being able to watch movies, because like within a month or two, I'll forget it.
Okay. So yeah, so it was the whole,
I've seen it, but I could not tell you anything about it.
Well, like it's just this famous movie about like these.
Is it the sales one, or is that the lawyer one?
It's the sales one.
Okay.
It's the sales one.
Is that
Always be closing.
coffee? Something about coffees for closers, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Always be closing, coffees for closers. Yeah. So, in that it's about like there were scams running on leads and land deals and all that stuff like that. So that technology is different now, and you're able to kind of research more, you're able to see things, but that doesn't mean people still aren't scammed in traditional markets. That doesn't mean that stocks still aren't pumped and dumped, and yes, the SEC can go after them and stuff like that. But I thought his comment was very interesting, because I think the more you're immersed in crypto, it's and especially on the creation side, or I want to work for a crypto company or development side, or whatever you want to do in that space, move the ball forward for mass adoption and changing the world like we talked about with crypto. I think one of the things always in the back of your mind is, I hope I don't appear as though we're trying to scam, because that's not what you're trying to do. But the thing is,
I don't think anybody wants to ever appear.
No, yeah,
like they're
no,
trying
not
to scam.
Yeah, and I say that I say that as honest people don't want to appear that way, and there's always that fear of if you're still trying to do something, but then it might appear that. And the reason why is that it's so unfortunately entrenched right now in the crypto space. It's entrenched based on just all the things that have happened.
Well, I have to adjust how I approach meetups with crypto and everything, because you never know. You should never judge a book by its character or by its cover.
Right.
I get that. But I also come from the real estate entrepreneur world, where like, I say this to my people all the time, is everybody you meet is full of shit. So, and because I say that not in a pejorative way, but just because if I go to a real estate meetup, somebody is always aware that they may be talking to their next partner, their next capital raise, their next buy. So they always want to put on this air of success, this air of, hey, I'm, everything I touch is gold. And they could be 100% true with everything they're saying, but if you go into that situation just like, oh yeah, like gullible, that you find yourself in a position to be taken advantage of. So if you just assume that they're full of crap, then you're fine. But it's the whole trust but verify thing.
Yes, yeah, and I'll put that back on you of what you just said. It's like you go in there and you're a little bit gullible. Well, I think newcomers to the crypto space, they go in there all excited, and they're just unfortunately a little gullible. That's why I can say I can see both sides, because I'm not embarrassed to admit that, like, when they say do not give your wallet address, like, I never gave it, but I have seen people think that they're getting something out of giving their wallet address. The phishing scams are very, very real. It's like, hey, verify this so your USDT isn't canceled. And I mean, it's like very scary messages that these people get. Their copycat accounts, they look very real. And because of that, I can understand how people might be susceptible to being scammed, but I think, and I'll just finish up with this on this point, is that that's why the blockchain is also a beautiful thing. And I think you agree with that, is that in terms of having is it an ideal world? No, it's not an ideal world. But are we getting closer to that ideal world by using blockchain technology? I absolutely think so, because it is so transparent.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, I think in the early days of like Bitcoin and crypto and all this is the narrative was, oh, the Silk Road, they're using all this to do this, da 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 da. And you're like, and then once you get a little bit of education, you realize, oh, wait a minute, this ledger's forever. You have to be a complete moron to be a criminal and using crypto to do illegal type transactions, because all the government has to do is figure out who this wallet address belongs to, and then you're busted, and then you're done. It's just right there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is that they will find you. Like, there's an amazing, I don't give a lot of shout outs on, because I don't want to get their name wrong or them be offended or anything, but one of the best people I have seen to track down some of these scammers is, his name on Twitter is ZachXBT. And he actually does wallet research. I mean, he uncovers so many things that you would not believe, like social media posts, linking it back to Discords, and what he's able to do is he's able to find some of these scammers that are like, you are just a scammer. And I think when people start caring about that as a community versus just leaving it up to the SEC to do it, like, oh, this isn't my job. You know what I mean? It's that whole, like, hey, as a community, we're responsible. We need to, like, hold people accountable versus, like, oh, I'll just let the government handle that. It's like, okay, like, you're giving up some of your autonomy by doing that, as a community. And so it's like, I think, crypto in itself has to have a wake-up call where we have a responsibility to use this technology, use blockchain technology, to not only make the world a better place, more transparent than it's ever been, which I think is a beautiful thing, but then at the same time hold people accountable who decide to abuse this new system and kind of community that we're trying to build, this new kind of future that we're trying to build.